ओके जी, ट्रिगोनोमेट्रिक रेशियो साइन थीटा होता है ऑपोजिट अपॉन हाइपोटेन्यूज, कॉस थीटा होता है एडजेसेंट अपॉन हाइपोटेन्यूज, टेन थीटा क्या होता है ऑपोजिट अपॉन एडजेसेंट। ठीक है जी। द अदर थिंग दैट यू शुड बी नोइंग इज के आपके पास ये वाले जो फॉर्मूलाज हैं ये सिर्फ और सिर्फ किस पे लगते हैं, राइट एंगल ट्राइंगल पे। अगर ये थीटा है तो ये ऑपोजिट हो जाएगा और ये क्या हो जाएगा, हाइपोटेन्यूज। ऑपोजिट टू 90 डिग्री इज ऑलवेज हाइपोटेन्यूज, यू एग्री टू दिस राइट। अच्छा, इस थीटा की वजह से, ड्यू टू थीटा योर एंगल इज चेंज्ड। क्या हो जाता है, थीटा की वजह से, अगर थीटा ये रहा तो अब इस थीटा की वजह से ये क्या हो जाएगा, ऑपोजिट हो जाएगा। 90 के ऑपोजिट अभी भी क्या है, हाइपोटेन्यूज है, एंड द रिमेनिंग पार्ट बिकम्स व्हाट, योर एडजेसेंट। तो आप इससे साइड भी निकाल सकते हैं। अगर साइड कैसे निकालेंगे, व्हेन वन एंगल द अदर साइड इज गिवन। आप इससे एंगल भी निकाल सकते हैं व्हेन टू साइड्स आर गिवन यूजिंग द ट्रिगोनोमेट्रिक ratios. Are you guys with me on this? Then we have sine rule. Sine rule is a upon sine a is equal to b upon sine b is equal to c upon sine c. इसमें से आप दो दो करके यूज करते हो, या आप ए बी का यूज करोगे, या आप बी सी वाला यूज करोगे, या आप कौन सा वाला यूज करोगे, ए सी वाला यूज करोगे। अच्छा, ये साइन रूल अप्लाई कब कब होता है, नॉन राइट एंगल ट्राइंगल पे। वैसे तो वो नॉर्मली उस पे भी होता है, बट ऑब्वियसली व्हाई डू वी से नॉन राइट एंगल ट्राइंगल, ताकि हर फॉर्मूला को अपना एक जो है ना फिगर दे दें, वो आसान बन जाता है उसको सॉल्व करते हुए। ठीक है, और ये कब होता है, व्हेन एंगल एंड ऑपोजिट साइड इज गिवन। क्या हो जाता है, एंगल एंड ऑपोजिट साइड इज गिवन। तो ये आपके पास हो जाता है साइन रूल, जो कि आपका ओ लेवल के थ्रू आप आ रहे होते हो। ठीक है, अब दूसरा क्या हो जाता है, कोसाइन रूल। कोसाइन रूल क्या करता है जी, कोसाइन रूल बोलता है ए स्क्वायर इज इक्वल टू बी स्क्वायर प्लस सी स्क्वायर माइनस 2bc कॉस ए। डू यू एग्री टू दिस? ये कोसाइन रूल क्या कर रहा होता है कि अगर मेरे पास नॉन राइट एंगल ट्राइंगल है, अगर मुझे एक साइड चाहिए तो इसका ऑपोजिट एंगल गिवन होगा। अगर ये साइड चाहिए मुझे तो इसका ऑपोजिट गिवन होगा, और एडजेसेंट साइड्स भी गिवन होंगी। दैट मीन्स अगर मैं आपको बोलूं कि ये मेरे पास क्या हो सकता है, ये ए है, तो ये क्या हो जाएगा, ये बी हो सकता है, तो ये क्या हो सकता है, सी। अगर मुझे ए ढूंढना है तो बी और सी मेरे पास गिवन होगा, प्लस द एंगल विल ऑल्सो बी गिवन, प्लस द एंगल विल ऑल्सो बी गिवन। अगर कभी मुझे साइड ढूंढनी होती है या कभी मुझे एंगल ढूंढना होता है, तो फॉर एंगल व्हाट विल हैपन, ऑल थ्री साइड्स विल बी गिवन। whenever all three sides are given, आप उसी वक्त आप बोलोगे कि इसमें क्या अप्लाई हो जाएगा, कोसाइन रूल अप्लाई होगा, क्योंकि और कोई फॉर्मूला अप्लाई हो ही नहीं सकता। जब तीनों साइड्स गिवन हो और आपको क्या बोले, एंगल ढूंढो, जब तीनों साइड्स गिवन हो और आपको क्या बोले, एंगल ढूंढो, तो आप क्या अप्लाई करोगे, कोसाइन रूल अप्लाई करोगे। आर यू गाइस विद मी ऑन दिस? वेरी गुड। अच्छा, पर अब जब आपके पास, see when you have already studied trigonometric ratios, ठीक है, you should be knowing the basic concept of this, कि आपके पास साइन थीटा, कॉस थीटा, टेन थीटा, या फिर साइन रूल या फिर कोसाइन रूल अप्लाई कैसे होता है। वन अदर फॉर्मूला इज जो नॉर्मली यूज होता है, दैट इज एरिया ऑफ ट्राइंगल, जो कि क्या हो जाता है, एरिया ऑफ ट्राइंगल। अब एरिया ऑफ ट्राइंगल इज 1/2 इंटू ए इंटू बी इंटू साइन थीटा। ये कब अप्लाई होता है, व्हेन एंगल एंड द टू एडजेसेंट साइड टू दोज एंगल्स आर गिवन। कब अप्लाई होता है, व्हेन एंगल एंड टू एडजेसेंट साइड्स आर गिवन। बट सिंस हम क्या कर रहे हैं, एएस लेवल कर रहे हैं, तो एएस लेवल के कुछ कॉन्सेप्ट अपने अपने भी होते हैं। तो लेट्स स्टार्ट ऑफ विद दोस कॉन्सेप्ट्स। ठीक है, लेट्स से वी हैव साइन थीटा, वी हैव cos theta, and we also have tan theta, right? Now I'll be looking forward to make sure कि आप इसको बेसिक, जो बेसिक्स है उसके थ्रू हम करें। तो let's टेक 0, 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 210, 240, 270, 300, 330, and 360. What I made sure I write down 0 to 360 because for any sine theta, cos theta, or tan theta, your one cycle of that graph will start from 0. It will go up to 360. I repeat, the entire cycle of sine theta, cos theta, and tan theta graph will start from 0 to what? 360. So that means if I want to write down the values of such sine 0, so sine 0 will be 0. Sine 30 will be half. Take out your calculators and find out values yourself. Sine 0 is 0. Sine 30 is half. Sine 60 is under root 3 upon 2. Sine 60 is under root 3 upon 2. Sine 90 is 1. Sine 120 is under root 3 upon 2. Sine 150 is half. Sine 180 is 0. Sine 210 is minus 1 upon 2. Sine 240 is minus under root 3 upon 2. Sine 270 is minus 1. Sine 300 is minus under root 3 upon 2. Sine 330 is minus half again. And in the end, sine 360 is 0. So if you note that you already have the value from 0 to 360 to write down the cycle, but for all the values, sine 0 is 0, sine 30 is half, sine 60 is under root 3 upon 2, sine 90 is 1, sine 120 is under root 3 upon 2, sine 150 is half, sine 180 is 0, sine 210 is negative 1 upon 2, sine 240 is negative under root 3 upon 2, sine 270 is negative 1, sine 300 is negative under root 3 upon 2, sine 300 is negative 1 upon 2, and sine 360 is again 0. So if I use this thing, your major values for sine is 90, 180, 270, and 360. These are the major values. If you note in the given conditions, what are the values which are maximum? Maximum is 1 and the minimum is minus 1. And where does the x-axis lies? On 180? On 180 it is 0. On 360 it is 0. And on 0 it is 0. So if I write down as my maximum value as 1 and my minimum value as minus 1. On sine 90, I have my maximum value. Sine 270, I have my minimum value. Sine 90, I have maximum value. Sine 270, I have minimum value. On sine 0, I will have 0. Sine 180, I will have 0. And sine 60, I will have 0 again. So if you notice this thing, can I say my graph goes like this? And this is sine's one cycle. This is sine's one cycle that starts from 0, goes up to what? 360. In this cycle, if you just notice, from 0 to 180, you have positive values. From 180 to 360, you have negative values. From 0 to 180, you have positive values. From 180 to 360, you have negative values. Then you should also be knowing this setup that according to what is given, there are 4 quadrants. What are quadrants that define the angle? For suppose if I say from this is 0, we will go anti-clockwise. This is 90. Do you agree? So that means this is your first quadrant. This gives me angle from 0 to 90. This will be your second quadrant. This is also 90, right? But your second quadrant will give me angle from 90 to 180. This will give me from 90 to 180. Then this is your third quadrant. Your angle will be from 180 to 270. This is your fourth quadrant. So your fourth quadrant also has 90 degree. So this will be 270 to 360. Whenever the question gives me positive, if the question says theta is greater than 0 and less than equal to 360, what does this mean? This means that my angle will be taken out from the quadrant using the anti-clockwise rotation. Using what? Anti-clockwise rotation. Now, why am I saying that? Because obviously we will be using basic angles. What is basic angles? We'll study about that. But if the question says 0 to negative 360, now when the angle from 0 to negative 360 means that this side is positive, right? If the graph goes on the left, this will be negative. So that will go clockwise rotation from 0. That will go clockwise rotation from 0. If the question clearly mentions that it is from negative 180 to 180 degree, I'll just correct this thing down. No? Negative greater than negative 360 and less than equal to 0. Okay. Achha. If the theta is greater than negative 180 and less than equal to 180. So now for this part, the angle will be calculated. And for this part, the angle will be calculated. Which means if you have positive degree in the given question, you will go anti-clockwise. If you have negative degree in the question, you will go clockwise. How we'll go about it, how this is going to happen, this is something else. But at the moment, what you need to understand is that your sine graph starts from 0. Your maximum sine has 1. Your minimum sine has -1. Your x-axis of sine is on 0, 180 and 360, right? So can I say that obviously 0 on 0 you have 0, 180 you have 0, 360 you have 0, on 90 you have 1, on 270 you have -1. So sine graph is created. With the sine graph you see that you already know that from 0 to 180 sine is positive. So that means this quadrant will give me sine as positive. This will also give me sine as positive. But from 180 to 360, what does it show? Negative. So that means this will give me sine negative and this will also give me sine negative. What you used to do in O-levels was, I'll give you your O-level example. Let's say you had tan theta is equal to 3 upon 4. You had tan theta is equal to 3 upon 4. And what you used to do, tan inverse 3 upon 4 to find out the angle. Do you agree? Okay. Can you calculate the angle tan inverse 3 upon 4? The answer is tan inverse 3 upon 4. The answer is 36.86. Let's take it as 36.9. So in O levels, this 36.9 would be your what answer? Because the question never gave you the degree in that. The question never gave you range of degree in that. That means never told me that my theta is from 0 to 360, or theta is from minus 360 to 0, or theta is from minus 180 to 180. The question was clearly told that obviously you're going to give the answer. Your one degree would be always accepted. Your one angle would always be what? Accepted. But now in AS level, what you need to understand this is, if I tell you basic angle, right? If I tell you that sine theta is equal to half, if I tell you sine theta is equal to half, can we calculate as sine inverse half? That means if the question arises as sine theta is equal to half, we can always write it as sine inverse 1 upon 2. Do you agree? What is the answer for this? Very good. This is the answer, single angle, which is what? Theta is equal to 30. But if you notice in the values, can I say half is what? 30. You agree to this, right? But where else half comes? So that means my answer for this particular question will be not only be 30, because the range of angle will be from 0 to 360. So that particularly means that 30 will not be the only answer. So I need to give my answer for half, which is positive. So my answer will be 30 plus also what? Because if you calculate, take out your calculators. If you calculate sine 150, if you calculate sine 150, what do you get? You get what? 1 upon 2. So that means both, at both values, as sine as 30, you get half. Sine as 150, you get what? Half again. So whenever there is positive half, you will be writing down two values. One is what? 30. The other one is 150. So how do you get 30 and 150? Obviously, you don't need to learn the values, right? So with that, we need to calculate it through the basic angle. Now, when the question was given already that sine theta is half, what did you get the first angle? 30. Now this 30 is your basic angle. This 30 is your basic angle. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw your quadrants. But this time, we are going to mark the basic angles. Sine is positive, right? This 1 upon 2 is positive. Where do we have positive sign? In the first quadrant and in the second quadrant. So that means your basic angle will be in the first quadrant and in the second quadrant. Your basic angle will always be with the horizontal line. So 30, and this will also be 30. Your basic angle will always be, I'll write it down, basic angle will always be with horizontal line. Why am I writing with horizontal line? Because I need to calculate the angle. And if I tell you your degree is from 0 to 360, that means you will go what? Anti-clockwise. If I start my movement anti-clockwise, you need to understand this. You will start from your horizontal line. When I start from my horizontal line, I'll touch the first line, which is this. So for the first line, my angle will be what? 30. That means 30 is the answer because I started and I touched the basic angle line, which is 30. Using anti-clockwise rotation. When I'll be touching the second line, that means if I start again, if I start from here and I need to touch the basic angle line, I'll touch here, right? This will be my second angle. This will be my second angle. Can I say straight line is always what? 180. So second angle will be 180 because it is straight line, and This angle 30 will be subtracted. The second angle, this will be what? Subtracted. So 180 minus 30. So 30 comma 150 will be your answer, which was already shown here. Through what? The values that I all wrote in the start. The values that I wrote in the start. Let's do another example of basic angle. Let's do another example of basic angle. Let's say sine theta is equal to negative half. Now sine theta is equal to, and I say theta is from 0 to 360 again. That means your answer will lie from 0 to 360. So if your answer lies from 0 to 360, what we need to understand is that your theta will be calculated through sine inverse 1 upon 2. And the difference is I did not write the negative sign, because this negative shows negative quadrants of sine. This negative shows negative quadrants of the sine, which means your negative quadrants were, this is your first quadrant, this is your second quadrant, this is your third quadrant, this is your sine negative was in the third quadrant and sine negative was in the fourth quadrant. So if sine negative was in the third quadrant and sine negative was in the third quadrant, what basic angle did I get? 30 again. I did get my basic angle as what? 30. But I need to find out angles. I need to find out the angle. But sine negative is in the third and the fourth quadrant, right? So basic angle with the third quadrant, basic angle with the third quadrant. Basic angle is always with the horizontal. So 30 is the basic angle, 30 is the basic angle. Now what we need to do is, we need to go anti-clockwise. What we need to do is, we'll start from here again and the anti-clockwise goes till the time we touch the basic angle line. So this is your first angle, right? Straight line is always what? So your first angle will be 180 plus 30, which means this will be 210. Do you agree? Now, calculating the second angle, starting from here again, we cross the first line because we already calculated, we touched the second basic angle line. This will be the second angle calculated. This will be so the total rotation is of how many degrees? So 360, can we say 360 minus what? Minus 30. This will be 330. So 360 minus 30 will be 330. So that means the two answers that I will be getting is 210 and 330. For what? Sine theta negative half. Your two basic angles will be 210 and 330. Let's confirm. That means negative half should have been on the value of 210 and should have been on the value of 330. So let's say 210. What do we have here? 330. What do we have here? Minus 1 upon 3. So this way, minus 1 upon 2. So this way we can always calculate the angles using the basic angle concept. Using the basic angle concept. So let's do another example, that is sine theta is equal to negative under root 3 upon 2. What you need to understand this is, this negative is only used to find out what quadrant it is. That means sine will be what? In the third and the fourth quadrant. So I write down, I'll just create the basic angle so that you should know that this negative will only be used for the basic angle. That will be useful in the third and the fourth quadrant, because sine is negative in the third and in the fourth quadrant. This is your third, this is your fourth, this becomes your first and this becomes your second. While calculating, we will not be taking negative value. While calculating, we will not be taking the negative value. So theta will be what? 60. Theta will be your 68. So this is your basic angle, but you do not know, you don't need the angle from the positive value. You already know that the quadrant needs to be what? Negative. So your basic angle is 60. Always the basic angle will be with the horizontal line. Your basic angle is with the horizontal line. What we need to do is we need to make sure कि हम anti-clockwise हैं. So moving from anti-clockwise from 0 to what? This line till the time that it touches the basic angle. So this is 180 plus 180 plus 60, which means this is 240. And we start from here again and we touch the other line, which is 360 minus 60. This is going to be what? 300. So your second angle is 300. So I can easily say that my angle sine theta negative under root 3 upon 2 angles are 240 and 300. So let's just confirm. In 240 we have negative under root 3 upon 2 and at 300 we have negative under root 3 upon 2.